Welcome, everybody. You're all doing fine? Good, good. My name is Geraldo Salles Cavalcante, and I just want to briefly introduce the session, and maybe starting with 4D conversations and the logo there. You know what the 4D stands for? Some people here know. It's not 4 dimensions. We have some 4Ds here in the room, but 4D stands for dreamers, doers, designers, and doubters. And our focus in that constellation is a growing community trying to understand the metacrisis and ways to mitigate it. Please, don't be shy. Everybody acquainted with what metacrisis is? No?
Now we cannot hear you. You have muted the 2 microphones. Sorry.
Technology.
No.
Now we can hear back?
Now we can. I think that depending on where the people will be standing, it might be better to have Björn's microphone than the one looking at background. Let's see how it works.
Let's do it like this.
Let's do it like this. Are you sure?
Yeah.
Good. Where was I now? Yeah. 40, yeah. Metacrisis, yeah. I think that the best way to describe the metacrisis, what you said once, Peter, is if you go back 20 years ago or more, you had like save the whales, save the forests, save the corals, right? And then we came to the conclusion that, well, it was the climate change, right? And we had the climate crisis. So it's our belief that climate, not only ours, but many other scientists, that climate change is just one aspect today of a much more complex type of interconnected, challenges, ranging from AI to, of course, climate change in the very complex environment that we have today. And mental health is one of these areas, right? That you can see both as that's what we're going to uncover here, and it's an area that in the 4D community we have been focusing quite a lot in our conversations. So with that, an invitation to join the 4D community if you would like to know more, participate on these conversations, which this is one part. And we are at Klustret, right? Everybody acquainted what Klustret is? So this is the place, Klustret. Maybe you have some words, because I am a Klustret. We have 2 clusters here, 3. Yes?
Yes. Okay. Hello, this is Andreas speaking. Yes, I am a Klustret member, and since 6 months ago, more or less. And Klustret is like a community of change makers, is what we call ourselves. You could also call it a community of freelancers. Doing things together. We can sit here at Klustret. This is a co-working space, and we also have common activities. So, yeah, it's a great community.
Yes, and so today we have then Aminah, hello, and Andreas as the stars of these conversations. 4D conversations is very much about a conversation, so we're going to have loads of time also for questions. And after the session, we hope you stay. We have a beautiful place outside so we can celebrate summer. Is that okay? And the way we're going to work is that we have Peter Sandberg as our moderator, and you together with Kazi are helping out also with the online. We have as many people, if not more, online right now.
And,
right?
And just if anyone, because many of you have received the Teams link, if you join on Teams, sitting with your mobile, I know for a fact that there is usually a very interesting discussion ongoing in parallel on the discussion of the Teams link usually.
Yes,
So
In the
that's
chat, yeah.
in the chat.
yes.
Though if you join, just make sure that you mute everything so we don't get this strange sound.
Okay, without further ado, and you guys are going to present yourselves, right? But Peter.
Yes. And I don't have much to say, but just know we usually run these sessions for about an hour and a half. But it depends on how engaged you as an audience are. The presentations will probably in all be around 40-45 minutes, but they can stretch also to a full hour, especially now when we have two presenters. I don't know how interactive it will be. Usually it's best if the presenter can actually just go with their usual flow, and then so we save the questions until later. But if you sense that it's right, just raise your hand and ask on the spot as well. Sure, that's fine with the presenters. You will hear two very strong stories today about two people that has experienced stuff and how they, in a way, came out on the other side. I don't imagine that everything's just rosy and dandy there, but at least they have found a good place to act as human beings. This is very much about mental resilience, we could say, and how maybe to get there even. So with that, is it you, Aminah, that is starting, or?
It's together.
Yeah, okay. So I welcome you up to the stage.
Thank you. Okay. Is someone waiting in the lobby here?
The digital lobby.
The digital lobby.
I can pick you.
Yeah, okay. Let me see now. I'm just going to stop sharing for a little while. So, can people see us now?
Yes.
Yeah. Good. I have my little sheets here. Well, I want to start with, we're going to start with presenting ourselves. But I want to start by saying thanks to everyone who is here today and coming to listen to our stories. That is, it's, we hope that it's going to be special for you. It's very special for us. It's fantastic to be able to share these stories. And it's actually healing for us to share our stories, in a sense. And I would like to say, give a special thanks to all my relatives and friends and colleagues that are here tonight. That's it's very special for me that you're here.
And I would like to thank you, Andreas, for inviting me together with you and for everyone who's arranging this. So we'll give a short presentation of ourselves.
Yes.
Yeah, shall I begin?
Sure.
Okay, so my name is Aminah Ådin. Just briefly, I will share my background. I'm a social worker, and I've also worked as a teacher for meditation practice and mindfulness. So that's my two professional feet. Then I also have a strong story since I was a child. So one and a half year ago, I decided to put all of this together and start to give talks about my experiences. So I mostly speak to police and social services and politicians and people like that in conferences. But I'm also talking about mental health because that's really one of my main loving topics that I love to speak about. I think it's so important that we find ways to actually really thrive and be happy. So that's what we will speak about today. Yeah, that's in short.
And so I am Andreas, and I am a computer science engineer. I run a little consulting company called Data Wizard, very humble name. And I help companies with their business intelligence. I sit here at Klustret when I can. I love to be here at Klustret in this community, but most of the time I sit with my clients. And I have 4 children from 0 to 13. So the youngest one is 2 months old. She's right now on a plane together with my wife from Mexico to Nicaragua, because my wife is from Nicaragua. And the plane was delayed, otherwise my wife would have been here, but unfortunately she couldn't be here. So I'm married with Muriel from Nicaragua, who works at Ericsson. I think we have some Ericsson. I know we have some Ericsson people here. And I ex-Ericsson as well. And something that some people that are here today maybe didn't even know about, that know me for a long time, is that I also have a diagnosis, bipolar disorder type 1. And I'm going to talk more about that. I also volunteer on Självmordslinjen at Mind, which translates to the suicide line. So I take calls from people that don't feel very well. I've done that now for a year. And it has given me as much as I have given the people that call, I think. Yeah. All right. Yes, so that was us.
That's
a little short, in short. So I'm going to go back to the presentation. And as Peter said, I think we've talked a little bit about the questions during the presentation. We will have some. We think we should just to go through the presentation, but we will have some short times when you can ask questions in the meantime or during the presentations. Okay, so let's see. We have this little thing. You'd like to make this to work. So this is the setup of this evening. We will first talk a little bit about the question: is there actually a mental health crisis or not? And then I'm going to talk about my journey, which I call a journey to hell and back. Make it a little bit dramatic. And then Aminah is going to talk about her journey, which she calls strengthen your inner peace. And after that, we will have a conversation about mental health. So you can ask questions, or we can discuss things that you come to think about. Actually, I forgot to write that after 7:30, then we have a midsummer mingle here at Klustret for the people that are here, if you would like to stay. Okay, so is there a mental health crisis? And I want to just point out that we are not psychologists or psychiatrists or researchers within mental health. We can offer you our experience, our stories, and we have done a little bit of home research just to be able to say something about this question. But when is there a mental health crisis? Well, if you look in the media, I think you definitely get the picture that there is mental health crisis. And this was something that Aldo sent to me just the other day, that the police get twice as many calls from people in a mental crisis compared to 7 years ago. So something is definitely happening, and then you could always imagine that maybe people are more open to make these kind of calls today. It can be other factors. It might be maybe the same amount of mental health problems as before. Not sure, but in the media you get this picture. When we look at some statistics, this is from a survey that is made by Folkhälsomyndigheten, and it's called Nationella. I think it's Folkhälsomyndigheten. It's Nationella Folkhälsoenkäten, and you can see that in Sweden, reported anxiety has almost doubled in the last 15 years. It's a little bit hard to see from these curves here. But you can see that for men, it's gone from around 3.5% to 4% to today's 5 to 6%. And for women, it's gone from about 6% to around 10% today. That report that they have hard a lot of problems with anxiety and what? Ängslan, oro eller ångest.
All anxiety.
Yeah. Okay. I found another study about from the UK, which looked at how many people are experiencing despair, and especially among young people, more people are saying yes. It's so here on this x-axis you can see the age, and then the blue curve is the anxiety levels now, or in the years 2019 to 2023, and the other curve shows how it was between 2009 and 2018. So as you can see, among the younger groups, it's gone up a lot. So something is going on. What's going on? Why are people having more anxiety and mental disorders? Well, here are the reasons that scientists say. These are the causes of the crisis. Social media and digital technology is giving people sleep disruption. Young people constantly comparing themselves with their peers. Cyberbullying. Loss of community. People we move now more than we did before. We become lonely. Some people become lonely. I can say that's a very common issue for people that are calling the suicide line. Loneliness. It's probably the number one. Increased work and academic pressure gives us burnout. Economic uncertainty, increasing inequality, and climate change is causing anxiety and depression. And these are just some of the things that I found when I was Googling a little bit. What are the causes of the rising mental health in the last decades? So is there a mental health crisis? Well, here I found a study from Harvard that says that they have concluded that half of the people living today will experience a mental health disorder in their lifetime. So a lot of human suffering, a huge economic burden for society. So the question tonight, that this is why we're here. Would it be possible? And this is one of the reasons of this. Would it be possible to significantly lessen the suffering and the costs? And we believe that we have some keys in our stories to this question. Right. Would anyone like to make a comment or ask a question now? Because now I'm ready with the first part. Is there a mental health crisis?
All right, I can start.
Sure.
Just one thought, because you said that could it also be that people are more willing to talk about it?
Yeah.
As that could be one explanation. You said, but I was also thinking, based on my own experience, is that at least I've learned what it is. Maybe because people talk.
Yeah.
Maybe so the word anxiety, I didn't even put that on this before. Just a thought. I don't think that it lessens the other things. That's just
just a comment, because you mentioned suicide, and it's pretty interesting to see, well, this indication of how you feel is not showing on the suicide, because that is actually decreasing. There are some increases in some age groups, but overall suicides are decreasing. So when it comes to the ultimate, and maybe simply the fact that we talk about it makes that this ultimate decision It's becoming more rare.
Or you're doing a better job at the suicide hotline.
No, that's part of what you want to talk about,
Yes.
in my view.
So it's really hard to answer this question. Are we getting more mental illness now than before? It's really hard to answer that question. But we have a lot of mental illness, and we have a lot of people having problems.
We had a comment from online as well.
Okay.
Andreas,
Let's see.
I saw it on he raised his hand.
Okay.
I lowered it again. So
Yeah, hello, this is Eric. I was just wondering, is this a global phenomenon? You say half of world's population, but is it a Western phenomenon, or is it evenly spread all over the cultures?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I can't answer that. I haven't looked into that.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, this study was done in 29 nations.
Very well.
Okay, but that was a little bit of an introduction. So, yes, a journey to hell and back. So this is going to be about a couple of keys I mentioned here, like accepting oneself completely, and then mental re-engineering. So let's see now. Yes. So, I wanted to mention that my childhood was great. I had a wonderful family, wonderful parents who always, of course, they did their mistakes, but they did the best they could, and I think they did a pretty good job. This is a picture from when we were living in Zambia when I was 5 and 6 years old. So these were all my friends there, some of them. And I think you might be able to spot me there. And so this was my family. Actually missing one sister on this picture that was not born yet. But and this is me when I graduated in 9th grade. But the thing is, something very important that happened and has affected me a lot during my childhood is that I was really good in school. School was very easy for me. I didn't really have to study very much, and all the teachers loved me, and I always got the highest grade and everything, basically. And I don't say this to sound, great. It was actually not very good for me because I didn't meet so many challenges. I want to say one more thing about my childhood. I was a bit of a sensitive child. So, for example, I skipped football. I didn't want to be in the football team because that was I got social anxiety from that. I skipped the scouts and these kind of things. And then I focused on things where I could really excel, like math and physics and so on. So when I was in university and I was 22 years old, I remember sitting in the student corridor and I was reading an article about the General Secretary of the United Nations, Kofi Annan. And I thought, oh, I'm going to be there in a couple of decades. That's me in a couple of decades. That was my self-confidence at the time, because I had never really met any real, what do you call it? Real obstacles. I hadn't been really challenged. So so my picture of myself was actually not complete, to say the least. So then I started my first real job as an engineer at this amazing company called Säfflebussen. I don't know if anyone has heard about it, but they were pretty big for a while. They don't exist anymore. But I worked there as a web designer. I started working there as a web designer. I was 24 years old, and I was going to build their new website. So I just came in to do that for a couple of months. And I got in there, and after a couple of days, I was devastated. I was extremely stressed. I had a lot of anxiety. I was extremely afraid of failing at this task, building the website. this was the first time that I was truly challenged in my life. It was an enormous pressure for me to succeed, and it was like running into a wall. It just took like a week or so, and then I couldn't sleep. I had my shoulders were stiff. I felt in a way that I had never felt before, actually. And I spent a couple of weeks like that. Fortunately, I had a fantastic boss there, the market director, who supported me and he believed in me and he pushed me and he made me come through the obstacle and I was able to continue working and actually build the website together. But this experience was a shock for me, and it turns out that this became a pattern for me. Every time I started a new job, the same thing happened basically, and it could come and go. I was working, for example, with Magnus. I was working for a while at Media Mätning in Scandinavian, and the anxiety and the stress would come and go for a couple of weeks, and then would go away, and I would come back again. I was extremely afraid of failing. Also there, I was fortunate to have a great boss, the CEO. It wasn't you, Magnus, it was Pontus, and he really supported me. Magnus was the guy. Yeah. Magnus was the consultant, but I would handle this stress, this anxiety, by in different ways. But one way I handled it was procrastination. Instead of doing the work, Pontus didn't notice at the time, I was surfing the internet, reading news, avoiding the work, avoiding what was causing the stress, because I didn't know any other way to do it. I was so stressed at times, and this is something that continued to happen over and over again, and I was trying to understand what's going on here.
Was it when you were just having a deadline, or was it?
Yeah, especially when I had to deliver some kind of project where I had a delivery in a couple of months, and I had to plan. And that if it was just a small task, it was not a problem. It was kind of like a project. Yeah. So, then when I was 28, I found this book, Self Theories by psychologist Carol Dweck. And she talks about, maybe you've heard about her, she's a quite well-known psychologist. And I think her theories about fixed mindset versus growth mindset is now quite spread. But to give a very short, very brief understanding of what fixed and growth mindset is, in a fixed mindset, you believe that your traits are fixed. So you're born intelligent or not. And you're born, charismatic or not. And you can't change it. While in a growth mindset, you think, you're born and then you start to develop, or you can become more intelligent. And as you learn, you progress and you become more intelligent. In a fixed mindset, a failure means that you're stupid. You are not intelligent. You're born stupid. You're always going to be stupid. It's devastating. In a growth mindset, failure is I'm learning. I'm getting smarter. So it's a completely different way of thinking. And I understood that. Actually, she also describes what kind of person develops these different mindsets. And I was the poster child for fixed mindset. Everything, I was ticking all the boxes. If I go through what I did go through, like having this easy time in school and all that, then you will develop a fixed mindset. Especially when people tell you, you're so great, you're going to be fantastic, you're going to have a great career. No, that's actually not helping. So I understood that I have to develop a growth mindset. I had to do it. And developing a growth mindset meant that you have to challenge yourself. Because you have to learn to deal with challenge. And so I kind of set out to do that, but it's not like been an easy journey. So yeah, in the next 3 years, I took on the challenge. I started to work as a change management consultant. So I was doing change management projects. I go into a department. I was working for them 6 months, and I was going to help them to become a better, more functional department. You know, and that's the toughest job I've ever had. It was yeah. You can imagine that some people, they don't want to change. Some people think that things are great. Why should we change it? And I met a lot of resistance, a lot of sometimes aggression even towards us consultants. And during those 3 years, I started to have really tough depressive episodes, and I started to get into this kind of pattern. I was moving up and down, and towards the end of the 3 years, I had my first manic episode. A manic episode, I'm not going to go into very much what it is, but basically, from my experience, you you lose your grasp of reality. Your reality, it's like coming to another universe. It's like everything is different, but it's true for you. So for example, maybe you start to feel like a superhero, and you believe it, and it's true. While you're in a manic episode, and so I that's when I got treated for the first time, and I got the diagnosis. But in the beginning, the doctors thought that I only had type 2 because I had taken antidepressants, and they thought it was because of the antidepressants. And then you only get type 2. I can tell you something when it comes to bipolar disorder, is that it is a result of genes, of course, but it's also a result of stress and trauma. So people can have the genes, but if they are not, if they don't experience an extreme stress and trauma, then they might not develop the disease. And in my case, I was just working. Some people would say, change the management consultant. What's the deal? What's the big deal? But I was, with my way of thinking, I was stressing myself a lot. So I was creating a very stressful environment, which in the end caused the bipolar disorder. So I started to go into therapy, and I found this psychologist, Jonas Moskin, and I started to work with him when I was 35, and I've been working with him on and off since then. That's I can't give I can't say everything that happened in this journey, but he was very important, and he helped me with a lot of changing of how I think and how I behave. And I'm going to give one example. At one point, I was very stressed at work, as always, and then came to Jonas, and he said, "But Andreas, have you tried to ask for help?" No, what do you can you okay? I hadn't thought about it, And actually, for me, I realized as we talked about it that it was really hard for me to ask for help, because then I had to show my weaknesses. I had to show that I didn't really understand everything, and I didn't know everything. So he challenged me to start trying to ask for help, and I started to do that. That people love to help. They are super happy when you ask questions. This was like a miracle for me. And I started to ask more and more. And now I'm world class. I have to help all the time. And everything goes so much faster now. But this was just one of the things I did together with him. Of course, I also started medicating. At the time, I didn't really feel that it was making any difference. Another thing I did was I continued to challenge myself, getting into things that I knew was hard. It's going to challenge me, but I'm going to do it anyway, because I need to learn to handle challenge. And then something else happened when I was 39. I got suddenly an email from this guy, Per, the CTO of Funnel at the time. He had just found me on LinkedIn, and as it happened, I was looking for a new assignment. I was a consultant, and he asked me if I was available because he needed someone to build the BI solution for Funnel. And Funnel at the time was about 100 people company. So I came and met Per, and I had a great impression of already at the start. He was such a calm, easygoing guy. So I took the assignment, and then I started working for Funnel. And after a couple of weeks, I started to feel stress. Oh my God, what have I gotten into? I'm going to build a BI solution for a very successful Swedish startup with 100 people growing fast, and I'm the only BI developer. This is, anxiety. And my old way of thinking started coming back. So at some point I was just there. I was so stressed that I thought, I gotta ask for help. So I told Per, do you have time to talk? I need to talk. And then as soon as he had time, we went into a room, and then I told him I am not feeling well. I'm stuck. I'm very stressed. I feel like I'm taking on more than I can handle. And then Per just told me, because he had been very busy, so he hadn't had that much time for me. Oh, I'm so sorry, Andreas. We should have had regular retrospectives already long ago. We haven't had any retrospective. That's why you're feeling bad. Andreas, you are the perfect guy for this job. I think you are just the one we need for building our business intelligence solution. You are just right. You don't need to worry. I have full confidence in you. And this moment was very powerful for me. It was a moment of complete acceptance of, in spite of all my stress, all my anxiety, all my doubts, he just accepted me 100% as I was. And then I got back to my desk, and I could suddenly start working again. And I spent 4 years at Funnel in the end. I was there as a consultant first for 1.5 years. And then I was away for a while, and I missed Funnel so much that I sent an email to Per, can I come back? And I came back and worked there for 2.5 years. During the first 1.5 years, I had depressions. I had even manic episodes, actually. But I was learning a lot by spending time together with Per and Funnel. Because the culture at Funnel was a culture of acceptance. It was like, everyone is okay. You're okay. And let's talk about the mistakes. It's okay to do mistakes. This was the culture. Bill is here from Funnel, by the way. He was the deputy CTO at the time. Yeah. But so, my 4 years at Funnel, that was, for me, that was healing. I learned so much from Per and the environment that he had created, because it was not only Per, it was all the colleagues. It was an environment of acceptance. Actually, the last 2.5 years of Funnel, I didn't have any episodes, depressive episodes, manic episodes, and I haven't had any since I left Funnel either. Okay, so now 1 year ago I said, okay, now I think I'm stable enough to actually help other people. So I applied to Mind to see if I could join their suicide line. and I now volunteer for them 4 hours every day, every 2 weeks. No, not every day. So I was actually volunteering this morning, and yeah, I'm learning so much from this course. It might sound tough to work on the suicide line, but it's actually it just feels so good. It's like every time I've done it, it's like wow, I felt like I could help someone there. I was.
I just must, don't you feel the fear of not being able to help someone, not reaching through with someone calling in?
Yeah, I think that's probably what most people would get hindered by getting into this job, because they would be afraid to make a mistake. But this is what I've been working on now for 15 years. Mistakes are okay. Every call is not perfect. And sometimes someone hangs up and is angry or something like that. It's just going to happen. But if we have to do it to learn, right? We have to take the calls and try our best, and that's it. And then when you've had a bad call, okay, you go and talk to one of the other volunteers about it, and you have to let it go. So with my story, if I want to summarize a little bit, 3 things that I want to give to you. And also, these are the things I give to people when I'm on the suicide line every time. First, it is possible to heal and live with mental illness. Many people think that it's impossible. When you're in a depression, it feels impossible. But it is possible. And the second thing is that accept yourself the way you are. You are good enough. Be kind towards yourself. I had a mother calling in, and she had been screaming at her daughter to get to school in time. And then she called at 9 o'clock, and she said that I feel so bad. I'm such a bad mother. And she was like, I'm not worthy of living. Yeah. But I told her, but you did your best. You're trying to be a good mom. That's why you call me now. So you are good enough. And then keep trying. And actually, this doesn't only go to yourself. This is also about accepting other people, such as your wife, your husband. Accept other people who they are. It makes things easier. Then finally, we need to challenge ourselves all the time, I think, because of course you don't want to stay depressed. Okay, I accept myself, I'm depressed, I accept it, it's fine. But you don't want to stay there. So you need to, for example, some people that are lonely, can you go out and have a coffee with a friend? That's a challenge when you're depressed. But you need to find challenges so that you learn how to handle those situations that are causing your anxiety and depression. Okay, that was my story.
Thanks, Andreas. A quick question. I mean, we are already running so late.
Yeah, so I think it's better that we get.
We move on.
We take common questions and find commonality. I think. What do you think?
Afterwards, yeah.
Thank you so much, Andreas. Thank you so much. I'm also here at Klustret, co-working, and it's Andreas is one of the ones I've been connecting very closely to. So it's beautiful. I will share about my life briefly. I understand if it can be a bit touching or sad to listen to it, but it will have a good ending. So it will be happy towards the end. I hope it's fine. I will share about my childhood and my journey through mental illness until finding happiness and strength. So it started when I was young. I grew up in a family that I really loved. I had a wonderful, beautiful mother who loved children, and she was very warm and caring and took care of us children very well. I was the oldest of 4 siblings, and I had a beautiful father who was also very warm and caring and fun to be with. So I grew up in this magical world. We had a lot of friends, a good family, and for me, I was like, life is beautiful, magic. People are wonderful. And then when I was about 6 years old, my mother and father decided to buy a house. They wanted to have a better place for us children to live. We moved to that house, and it was great in the beginning. But after a while, after a few years, I started to notice that the laughter we had was gone, and it was replaced by my mother and father fighting, arguing with each other. It wasn't physical violence, but they were angry. I could hear from my room that they tried to solve problems that they couldn't solve. I understood after a while it was because they didn't have money. Probably the house was too expensive for them. So we didn't have enough food. I remember she was only able to put spaghetti and ketchup for us for dinner. And I just realized that things are not good anymore. I even wanted them to have a divorce. And one day my mother comes to me and she tells me that they would have a divorce. And then I got angry. I didn't want that. But 2 weeks before I will turn 10, my mother comes home and she looks happy and she gives me a gift. And she says, you can open it already now, although it's your birthday soon. So I opened that gift and I see that it's a pair of trousers. And first I'm happy to have that's clothes. And then I get angry and disappointed because it's the wrong color of the trousers. They are turquoise and no one of my classmates has that. So I tell my mother that I'm angry with her and that she's stupid and that she's ugly and that I don't like the way we have it anymore. And I say that because I want her to understand that I want things to change. But my mother gets sad, and that evening I go to bed without apologizing and without hugging her goodbye. And that night I wake up and I go out and I see that all the lights are on in the house. It's in the middle of the night, so it should be dark. And I stay there and I look into the living room and I see that there's a lot of people there that I don't know. I look closer and I see that it's police standing there. So I realize that something has happened, so I go back to my room because I don't want to know what's happened. The next morning I wake up and there are 2 unknown women there from the social services. And they tell me that my mother is at hospital, that my father is at work, and that I don't need to go to school that day. I understand that it's not true. After a while, 2 of my mother's best friends come to our house and gather us children in the living room. And I step a few meters back because I understand that they will share something that is difficult. And with great sadness, they share with us that my mother died during the night and that it was my father who killed her. And although I try to keep a distance from that fact, it just hits me. And I break into thousands of pieces and we start to cry, everyone together, of course. And after a while, they tell me that I have to gather my most important things because now I have to leave the house and I will never come back again. So from one day to another, she's gone, my mother. I will show her to you. It's so beautiful. And it's of course me on all these pictures. My cousin sent this to me just the other day.
No images, please.
You don't need to take any pictures of it.
Okay.
on this.
Because she doesn't want it to be shared, so like her.
No, I
Yeah.
do it for her.
Oh, okay.
So we have an agreement.
Yeah. But so I received this picture just some days ago, so I added it. It's nice to have her close, and I was like, should I put her in this room today? And I was like, I always want to have her with me when I do this talk. Anyway, I will cut this story brief. I end up, after a few days, I'm placed in an orphanage. I'm separated from my siblings. I meet my father after a few days, and he is devastated, filled with anxiety. And he tells me, like, oh, I didn't mean to kill her, I love her. And I'm just 10 years old, so I tell him, it's not your fault, everything's going to be okay. And then he looks me straight into my eyes and he says, you have to be strong. You have to take care of our family. Life has to continue. But I'm only 10 years old. I have no idea on how to be strong. I've just lost my mother and I have no sense of that life can continue. But I promised him to do as he said. So after a while, I'm placed in a foster home, separated from my siblings. My father continues to share with me that I have to be strong, that I should take care of them. And he also tells me that I should tell everyone that I love him, and I should write him letters to tell everyone that I love him, so that he can show that to the contact person, so that they will see that he's a good father. During this time, I have basically no support at all. They make sure that I have a roof above my head in this foster family, but no one really dares to ask me, how are you feeling? I mean, how is this for you? What's going on mind? I noticed quite quickly that the adults put up like an invisible wall, which tells me not to speak too much to them. So where do I hide everything? Inside. When I'm 16, actually also a psychologist, I meet him after a year or so. I meet him 3 times, and after that he makes the assessment that I was not harmed by my father murdering my mother. And that closed further all doors for any support. So I will skip this story very fast. I moved back to my father after 6 years. I helped him build up a home, and it's actually quite good. Yeah, I don't want to be a foster child anymore, so at least that's the better alternative. I graduate from high school with high grades, and I've been very successful there. I start working, I moved to Stockholm, have my own apartment, start to have a good life. You know, it's fun, I meet new friends. After a while, I start to feel very tired. It's like I have to hold myself to be able to stand up straight because I'm so tired and weak. And one evening when I visit my friends, the tears won't stop falling. I'm just crying and crying and crying. So they make the decision to drive me to the emergency at the hospital. So I come in there, Sjukhus, and the doctor there, he asked me, so what's wrong with you? And I sit there in the room and I just say, my father murdered my mother when I was 10, and I'm so tired. I can't lift my arms. And I look down at my arms and I see that it's true, that they are lying still there on my lap. So he asked me, would you like to stay the night here? So I immediately said yes, because I just want to be protected from the world that didn't protect me. And that becomes a time of rest for me. I'm very tired, I'm very sad, and everyone there understands and knows this. I get medication, and I get also contact persons who I can start to share my story with. One of them is called Ingmarie, and she's the one I speak with, and she does something that no one have done before with me. She listens. So I can share whatever I want with her, and I say that to her, like, Ingmarie, it's like you're in a block of concrete, because whatever I say, you don't move, you don't sway. And then she says, like, Aminah, you can tell me everything. And that is also a big shift for me, that someone actually can listen, someone can carry what I am saying, which gives me a glimpse of that I also can carry it. So that becomes a shift for me. And I'm quite a long time at that hospital. And after that, I get out, I have a doctor's therapy and medication. And I go back to work, and I really want to, be strong again. And my doctor, she tells me, like, Aminah, why don't you take a sick leave for like half sick leave, halvtidssjukskriven. And I'm like, no, I want to be strong. But after a while, I just give up and I tell her that I want to have sick leave, and it becomes on full time. I'm completely exhausted. I'm completely depressed and sad and just very, very heavy. So I stay in that, would you say sick leave?
Yeah.
For many years. I get stuck in that, in my sofa, not able to really have a functioning life, not seeing my qualities, not seeing my strength, not seeing that I'm capable or worthy of a good life. And then a friend of mine, she gives me a book, and she says, I think you should read this, Aminah. It's a book, it's about love. I think you will like it. So for me, it was also a shift with a book. So I read that book, and I understand from that that I have an inner strength, and I have the capacity to change my life. So I start to make changes. I end my medication with the support of my doctor, and start slowly working again. I also come into a lot of spiritual practices and self-development, and I do a lot of yoga and meditation and other practices, and I start to feel better. But after some years, I think it's like 2 years, I just see that I'm not feeling fine. I'm not well. I have a lot of anxiety, depression, negative thoughts, bodily pain, and it doesn't go away. And I've tried so many things. What should I do? Like nothing got rid of it. So I just decided to stop everything. I decide and understand that I'm in a hopeless case, and it will never be good again. So I stop all of that, and I just continue working. But I hear my friends talking about a woman who's holding or giving workshops. So I go there anyway, because I can tell that they look a bit happier. So I want that too. And the first time I listened to her, she says some profound things that really supports me, which is nothing needs to change. Thoughts and emotions can be as they are. She said, you are perfect as you are, and you can relax. And that was so supportive for me to hear, because I realized that I've all my life, for many years, been trying to get rid of the thoughts or change them or replace them. And now I see that I can allow them to be as they are. And I can do that through resting, finding my inner core of strength and peace and resting there. So I decided to take a year where I try that. I want to be very close to the depression, the sadness, the sorrow, the anxiety. So very practically, I took a year where I started to allow them to be as they are. When I woke up in the morning and felt depressed, I relaxed. When I went to work and felt anxious or nervous, I relaxed. When I was with my colleagues or got a difficult assignment, feel stressed, I relaxed while I was doing it. So that was the key for me, to find relaxation in the midst of the sensations that I've had. And in that way, after a while, it took a while, started to notice another sense of ease in my everyday life. I wasn't as stressed, I wasn't as sad, and I also started to like myself more. The longer it got, the more friends I became with my thoughts and emotions. It's amazing. It's amazing.
But when you say that you relax, what did you do? Did you just go to sleep, or did you take a cup of coffee, or I mean, what kind of?
Yeah,
Or was it just by thinking the other way around, or?
I relaxed body and mind completely. So in this moment, you relax. And maybe you do it just for a split second. Because it's not easy. It was very difficult for me to start relaxing. I was completely tense. Relax and then relax again. And also the stress and the negativity, things I didn't like, was also reminders for me to, this is a new opportunity to do something new. To relax instead of fighting against it, for example. So for me, it's obvious that the more I relaxed in various areas of my life, it became like a thread of relaxation in my life. And so when I had this understanding, I could also make beneficial changes. Nothing needs to change, but I could make wise changes. Like I looked at my strengths and my weaknesses, a little bit like Andreas talked about. I saw what I'm good at and I wanted to empower that. I saw what I'm not good at and I felt that's fine. That's me. It's okay. And I also looked at what changes do I want to make? How do I want to make it? Like really caring for myself deeply. I wanted the best for me. And then from that also comes when you feel stronger and happier, it's like, how can you use this to contribute to others? And also take support, like Andreas talked about. So this was also part of my practice. Just look at gratitude, see what am I grateful for, finding it in things that I didn't see it, like sometimes just obvious things, that I had food or that I had a roof above my head, or sometimes it could be in other things. I also started to focus on my strengths and talents, like look at what am I good at, and then really be proud of myself and strengthen that. And for me, what I would like to share, you all know this, that this was so helpful for me to see that I have an innate peace or calm within me. We all have that. It's available all the time. I didn't see it because I was completely wrapped up in all the things that you showed in the beginning, all the stars. I was constantly focusing there. And then shifting focus to inside, this stability that I have, this space. So for me, it's a, I will do this very quickly. I think time is running out.
Okay.
Summarize everything. So self-awareness, I became very självkännedom. I looked at myself. What am I good at? What am I bad at? And my bad patterns, it's okay. My good patterns, perfect also. And to be aware of our needs and listen to them. Self-awareness gave more self-love. The more I got to know myself, the more I love myself. And the more I knew myself and the more I loved myself, the more self-leadership I got. For me, it meant that I know who I am, I know what I want, and I can take care of myself and also take responsibility for my life and for the way I communicate with others. Outcome, I feel good. Not all the time. I have constant bodily pain. I have depressive thoughts, but it's okay. I love myself today very much. I never thought I could say that. And that leads to more loving relationships. And that leads to that I can contribute more to society. So I'm now connecting this to the mental crisis here. And all in all, when what I see in my life is when I find peace within myself, it's so much easier just to contribute to peace in general, which I think the world deeply needs today. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
And there is also there that I'm writing a book. So coming in maybe November, hopefully.
The perfect Christmas gift.
Yeah. So that's it. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Do we have any questions for Aminah? Everyone's just taken.
I have a question. I mean, I love it. I mean, your messages about acknowledge your own strengths and utilize them to the maximum, and don't care so much about the weaknesses, or accept them or something. But why do you think that the society so often is pushing the other way around and saying, oh, we have to compensate for weaknesses and you should only work on your weaknesses and so on? And you have development folks in the office when I was younger, it was always about that. What strengths and weaknesses, and that don't care about the strengths, it's the weaknesses. Why? And there's so much in society that is like that. When obviously the opposite is the right way to go. What do you think? It's like that.
Do you have a hypothesis?
I think we're very used to doing that. So looking at our faults, and maybe we're also shy to look at how great we are. But I think that's really something we should do and support each other in doing. Like, I see my strength and you see yours, and we can lift them together. But I think it's something we have to do together because it's deeply rooted, like you said. It's the same with our mind. How many of you are more used to focusing on the negativity? Or when you've done a bad thing, you focus on that all day, blame yourself. So that also reflects out in relationships. So I think that's a good shift to start doing, like both for me and Andreas spoke about, like looking at what is actually working, what is good about ourselves. And my experience is that when I did that, that started to grow, and the other things just faded away a little bit more.
And I can. Or do you want? I have a go. Yeah, I don't think that I know the answer to the question, but one thought that comes to mind is that in the society we live in, it's a market society, and companies are always trying to tell us what we're not good at, what we need. In some sense, showing us our weaknesses. Look, you don't look like this perfect model. You need this cream, and you need this and that. So I don't know if it was like this if you go back 100 years or 200 years, but now the society is like this. We get bombarded with messages trying to make us aware of our weaknesses, in a sense. Yeah.
And I just wanted to mention that there is actually a niche in literature called business manga. So it's manga comics about business and also self-improvement. And many years ago, I came across this business manga with this guy called Johnny, and they actually pointed that out. Don't work so much with your weaknesses. Try just to leverage your strengths as much as possible. Otherwise, you're probably aiming for a lower baseline than the actual maximum amount that you can leverage your superpowers, I guess. Yes.
Yeah, I just another comment on that when it comes to corporate culture. You develop a corporate culture, and somehow this is because that is where your strengths fit, rather than trying to move into a company where you don't fit. So it's a little bit similar to me to feel well that you can contribute if the corporate. I think it was said somehow. I think it was about IKEA. Usually we present the corporate culture. This is what we are, this is what we do. If you don't like it, you shouldn't even be here. So I think it's somehow that means that yes, you might get a little bit of a culture which are the same people. But on the other hand, you find a community But my question was really, you mentioned about love. We had a discussion here previously about love and the fact that you can use love as your, and now going back to what you feel, well, what are you after? Is it really love? Because love is a dangerous word in my view. And I was thinking more about trust, because a huge part of love is trust. What do you think about that? Because to me, it was also mentioned in the article in Dagens Nyheter today, that what you really want to be, trust your environment to feel good and feel safe. Then you can grow. Is there any comment on that? What you feel? Is it,
For me,
yeah? You mentioned love, so that's why.
yeah, I have always loved love.
Yeah, it's a good word, but it's
For me, it encompasses many things,
Yeah.
also like trust and strength and joy. And, but I use it because I like also to challenge.
Yeah.
Like actually not only liking ourselves, we can love ourselves completely. And but of course, I think also it's important to find the words that resonate with oneself.
exactly.
So I use love, but it's completely like trust or
Yeah.
joy or
Mhm.
superpower.
Yes.
I really love the title. Vulnerability communities that we mastering mine. Can you say a couple of words, especially on the building the community when you're like been outside of the market, like been like on sick leave for a very long time, and you don't really have like friends that maybe like where you want to get. Maybe all of your friends are like from the same environment where you are, like very far away from the market. How are you getting back and building community like påverkansgrupp? That's where you want to be instead of where you are right now.
You can join cluster, you know. I don't know if there is a simple answer, but I think it's important to always be on the lookout for good communities. And then when you get the chance to join a good community, and then you join it or try to get in there. So, for example, but I don't know, of course, it's hard when if you're, for example, unemployed and you're really outside the market. Yeah. Yeah. But for, you know, I say join cluster. That's a possibility. Anyone can join it, of course. And I imagine that there are other such communities that you can join, whatever you need. For example, if you are depressed, there is this organization called what's it called? Balance. And they have so they people that are depressed or have bipolar disorder or whatever, you know, they have groups that meet and talk. And maybe if you're depressed, that's where you should go. You shouldn't go to cluster. It would be too much. But maybe talk to other people that are depressed. That will help you, right? And then, so you have to find a community that is right and good fit.
And it can also be finding out what you love to do. So it doesn't have to be within mental health. There's something that you love to do, and then you join that. Knitting or skiing or walking or whatever. Finding something that makes you thrive, happy.
And maybe also just to add to that, I think Geraldo, who is the shy guy there, in the back. I mean, we are all here because of Geraldo wanted something meaningful to do after he left Ericsson. We don't start with that guy.
Yeah.
That's why I'm here. So
This is particular.
it's no harder or easier than that, in a sense. Yeah. Do we have any questions from?
No, I don't have. So okay, no. No, it's not more comments. So there are comments online. I don't know if anyone wants to raise it, but I think there was a comment from Eric here. I don't know if you want to say it out loud, because I think it does make sense and summarizes a bit. So Eric, do you want to be put on the microphone and tell the audience here?
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yes. I was just thinking you have similar types of advice, both of you, to sort of accept and value yourself as you are. Would you say that this conforms to some school or theory that you have encountered in case one would like to, study this further? I can hear this fit with some things I've read so far, but I'd like to hear your comment on it.
Start? Well, I think this idea is very old. I think, for example, that Christ was talking a lot about it. God can forgive your sins, and Buddha was talking about it. That we should not see things as good or bad, but they just are the way they are. So these are like very old ideas, and they probably exist in many different cultures and different concepts, beliefs, let's say.
Yeah, but you haven't picked it up from somewhere specifically. I mean, like ACT is something like this, isn't it? A psychological school. Or I might have misinterpreted.
I've run into it in many different places.
Yeah, I know a little bit about ACT. It's a good, I like it the way I've heard it. And there are many teachings or practices that speak similar ways. So I think it's about finding your own, what resonates with you. And I think it's, we didn't, so to speak, rehearse this or try to find similar points, but this was happened to be. So that's why it was beautiful also to talk together. I think maybe these are also a little bit fundamental things for humans to actually accept ourselves as we are and find ways to also handle our thoughts and emotions.
Maybe if I can just add to your question there, Eric, and me and Aminah will discuss this a little bit before we started, is that there is a lot of, we basically live in a society where we are illiterate when it comes to mental health. And we don't understand, maybe it's not so much about understanding who we are, but actually what we are, what like conscious beings and what that entails. And in the Eastern Western traditions, my experience is that we have the toolbox there. It's not about religion. They have done the research when it comes to what it means being a conscious being and all the associated suffering that comes with that. And they have the toolkit for that. But we are not educated in that. We don't teach it in school. We're very ignorant, especially coming from the Western part. But also, I think many people in the East also so far are not really knowledgeable about that. But so for anyone looking for tools or help or whatever, at least for me personally, I found tremendous comfort and help by just reading up on that stuff.
We have a question online first. Kasi, then you can jump in. Kasi.
Yes, thank you. Sorry, I had to jump for a couple of minutes, but I think that I have checked with Geraldo that the question that I have was not asked before. So first of all, thank you for your kindness, sharing your personal stories. It's many times difficult, and we have lived for many years in times in which you couldn't show or you shouldn't show your vulnerabilities. And for some time in Ericsson, that was one of the things that we had to push a lot our leadership around. But now it seems that the environment is built now in a way that it's not healthy. We have social media demands, we have constant comparison. I see my daughters and their friends that are constantly checking things that seems also impossible in models that they have to, in role models that they have to follow. So it seems that we are in a challenging situation around, but then on the other hand, you mentioned the importance of your supporting environment. So how can we create more supporting environment to give a hand to those that need it at times?
Before you go answer, can we just look there at the end?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I didn't.
So we can see Kasi.
Yeah.
I will.
Okay, there.
Now we can see Kasi.
No.
Not on the screen.
No, but it's not sharing. But
We
you
can
stop
put it
sharing,
in.
so you have to share. Then you have to share the Teams part.
I can move it here, right?
Yeah. You can do it like that. And now you have both spotlighted. Doesn't that look great?
So how can we support? Kasi, can you just repeat the question now?
How can we build a supportive environment? What can we do to enable more those around that can help those that need it?
So I can just start by saying I think that we all have responsibility for the people around us. And the more, so, you know, what Per did to me when I was stressed, and he just completely accepted me as I was, and just told me that I was good enough. And that's something that we can all do. I had an issue with my daughter's football team the other day because the coaches are they are screaming at the kids and they are giving them punishments when they're not doing what they're supposed to do. And I was like, oh my God, this is so bad for these girls because they learn that they are not good enough. They are doing mistakes, and it's not okay to make a mistake. That's a horrible thought. We want to teach them that mistakes is okay. It's fine. You're okay, right? And so I actually gave feedback to the coaches, and they are now really upset with me.
But did you apply the same way you're talking to the coaches then? Telling the coaches that they are really good as they are, but or how do you do?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, I kind of did that, but they I don't know. But anyway, I think these coaches have a big responsibility, and we all have that responsibility. And if someone is not acting that way, we need to tell that person that, you know, this is not working. So it's a bit of a civil courage, you know, also.
I'm just thinking about something that I'm very passionate about is communityship. I mean, we all talk so much about leadership. It's the most used word at Ericsson and everywhere. And if you go into LinkedIn, it's so much about leadership, right? But the idea of communityship for me is so much stronger, right? And I'm really actually, I didn't invent it. I'm stealing from Henry Ninsberg that we had in one of our 4D conversations. And you had in one of the slides the loss of community, right?
Yes.
I mean, I don't know if everybody's seen this documentary. I think particularly strong here in Sweden, the Swedish theory of love. I mean, we really succeeded in Sweden in terms of individualism, and so, but also to the price of loneliness, right? So I think the idea of communityship, well, the things are very complex because at the same time Sweden is quite strong also in its leaders. But I think that can be a way forward in mind cells. Forget about leadership. No? Enough.
Do you have a question?
Yes, first of all, I really want to thank you for your personal and very, 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 very touching stories. That is actually your life also. But I have a personal question for you, Aminah, and that is, first of all, what is your relationship to your father today, if you want to speak about that, and also about your siblings?
We have on my slide, I have a sentence saying they are fine, because that's usually one of the first questions that I get regarding my siblings, like how is my family? So first, thank you for asking that. My father died like 20 years ago. So that
20 years ago.
20 years ago. But at that time, I had psychologists who told me that I had to be angry with my father, and I had to feel the anger and stuff like that. And I didn't actually feel it so much for several reasons, I guess. So I tried to be angry with him, but I also loved him actually. So in my book, I tried to describe the very complex thing that happens when your father murders your mother. It's like you can't understand it. And anyway, I made peace with our relationship, and I have forgiven him and come to terms with that. So I really feel that I want to love my entire life, him included. And he was a good man. it was, he always said that he got a blackout, and I think it's actually what happened. But it took a while to come to terms with that, of course.
What do you think you had needed at that time that you didn't get? I mean, what would have been a big difference if you had been listened to?
Yeah, I've actually put some folders there when I speak about children. The green one, Peter, you can there. I put them. No, but I think it's
It says,
yeah.
when dad killed mom.
And then I speak about supporting, strengthening, and safeguarding children. I think it's so important to listen to children, actually, to just first of all listen to them and let them speak about their inner experiences, and then take them seriously and also protect them from harmful situations. That would have made a big difference for me. I can speak a long time about it.
Thank you.
And my siblings are fine. Thank you.
Maybe this is a good point to conclude, or
I think so.
Yeah.
I don't see any new
questions?
activities on the net, and I think it's.
And first of all, I want to thank both of you for, as Luna said here, I really, really appreciate it that you are sharing your stories. And some people can relate more than others, but I think we all as humans can relate. And I know it takes courage also to share, even though maybe you're used to it now, I don't know, but sort of like, so that's amazing. That's also a great help to the society that you're doing that. And trying to end on a positive note, a couple of years ago, I listened to Sommarpratarna, or what's it called? And it was this football player, I think, from northeastern Africa, migrated to Sweden, very, very successful. And he ended with this insane ambition. He said, my goal is to become the happiest person in the world. And I was just struck by that, because I never thought that thought myself. I never set that ambition for myself. But just hearing that, well, that's actually a fairly, cool ambition to have in life, to become the happiest person in the world. Because you'll start realizing that it's actually up to you. Maybe you cannot do it alone, but no one else can really sort of like make that happen as well. If you at least start with that intention, and then try to get help also with it, then hopefully maybe, you don't need to get the gold medal, but just be in that race. I don't know.
And then you ask yourself, what is a happy person, when you know that Finland is the happiest country in the world? It's amazing. And I have this article somewhere which is really, really interesting. And that is saying it's possible to be a happy pessimist. Because you always get positive surprises. If you always paint the world in black, you're going to see the light.
Thank you very much, Björn, and thank you again.
Thank you.